Hey, I'm Meg, and I'm going to show you how to make my Glamour Peeps. That's right, I said Glamour Peeps. So I got this idea a few weeks ago to make my own peeps, and of course, being me, I decided to give them a makeover because I wanted them to sparkle. Anyway, I posted them to my blog, and the buzz on these Glamour Peeps has been outrageous. So today, I'm going to show you how to make them. The first step is to bloom your gelatin. So in this ramekin, I have 2 tablespoons of powdered gelatin. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of cold water. And just mix this together. If it looks a little weird and clumpy, don't worry, that's how it's supposed to look. And if it happens to be looking too dry, like it's not incorporating, you can add an extra few tablespoons of cold water. So now that that's mixed, I'm just going to set it aside. And the next step is to make my sugar mixture. So in this saucepan, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. I also have 1/2 cup of light corn syrup. A trick for light corn syrup is spray your measuring cup with non-stick cooking spray, and whatever the corn syrup in it will pour out very easily. Last, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of water. And now I just want to mix this up so it gets incorporated, and I'm going to use my heart whisk. All right, so once that all looks like it's incorporated, I'm going to turn the heat on, and you want to leave this in a pretty high heat. It's going to take a good amount of time to come up to a boil, and once it does, I'm going to let it go until it reaches 235 degrees. So while the sugar mixture is doing its thing, in my mixer, I have 4 egg whites, which I'm going to start mixing on low speed because I want them to gradually get air and become frothy. Okay, now that my mixture has come to 235 degrees, I've shut off the heat, and I'm going to add my gelatin to the mixture. You want to stir this in so it completely dissolves. And at this point, I'm kind of going to jack my mixer up so that the egg whites are at the perfect point for pouring in the sugar. All right, now that my gelatin is all dissolved, I'm going to lower the mixer to medium just because when you're pouring a hot liquid, you shouldn't have it on high heat. And slowly and carefully pour this down the side of your bowl. Once you're all in, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then I'm going to jack this mixer up, and I'm going to let it go for about 20 to 25 minutes until it cools down to room temp. Now that my marshmallow has come to room temperature, shut the mixer off, and I'm going to add about 2 drops of pink food coloring. Or a little extra. Once this goes in, I'm going to turn the mixer back on, let it turn pink, and then I'm going to fill my piping bag. Okay, now I've taken my marshmallow mixture off the mixer, and if you need a little tip to know when it's done, when you get a soft peak, or I say a stiff peak like this, on your whip attachment, you're good to go. So here I've prepared my sheet pan. I put a piece of parchment paper, and then I covered the parchment paper with powdered sugar. Please do not be cheap with the powdered sugar. It's really important. If you don't have enough, these peeps are going to stick. All right, so I filled a piping bag with my marshmallow. The first step is to pipe a teardrop shape. Apply pressure and slowly drag your piping bag back, and as you do that, release the pressure. While you're piping, you want to keep your marshmallow mixture mixing on medium speed so it doesn't dry out. All right, the next part is to pipe the body of the peep. You want to start off, you're going to apply pressure again and squeeze. Now gently pull up and back. As you pull back, release the pressure and just let it fall forward. Once again, apply pressure, pull up, back, release. So I'm going to continue piping the rest of my peeps, and then I'm going to let them set for about 24 hours so they completely dry out and we can decorate them. Okay, so now my peeps have been sitting for 24 hours, and this recipe will give you about 45 peeps. And they look totally cute like this, but this is definitely not enough for me. So now it's time to put their makeup on. So I took one peep, and the first thing I'm going to do with it is brush it with a little bit of water. You don't want to put too much water on because you're just going to make it tacky. And this water is going to make our makeup stick, which is disco dust. I cannot even begin to tell you how much I love disco dust. It is edible glitter. First time I saw it, the only thing I could think of is, where has it been all my life? All right, so get another paintbrush and start painting your peep. Don't be stingy with the disco dust either. And as you work, you're going to keep adding a little more water every time you need it. All right, so I'm just finishing up putting her makeup on right now, and she looks pretty well covered to me. The next step is to give her eyes. So I've got blue food coloring, and I'm just going to put eyes on using a toothpick. Just dip the toothpick into the food coloring and carefully give her eyes. And that's how Glamour Peeps were born. And now I'm going to continue dressing up the rest of my peeps. Okay, now I've finished glamming up all my peeps, and the only way to properly display a glamour peep is on a feather boa. Doesn't everyone have one lying around their house?